State of Louisville Live. Jacob Lane, Preston Meyer hopping in here.
What do we think?
It was rough, man. We're going to break it down here. Louisville falls to 20-9.
Before even looking, because I know you had some obligations and you missed kind of the last few minutes of the game, do you know who Louisville's leading scorer was? It might surprise you.
I see it now. Wooley. Yeah, I see it now. That's a shocker because when I walked away, I think he only had like 7 points, maybe less than that.
Yeah, I mean, he just took over towards the end of the game. But, look, again, too little too late.
You know what's really funny? I was doing some analysis earlier, and, I like to use AI to help me round out the edges of my analysis. I like to see
what AI thinks.
I use Gemini Gemini is really good at securing all the statistics from all the places and bringing it to me in one spot.
You always sound like Pam when you're talking about Gemini,
that's right. Jim and
myself,
I,
both of us,
went in and we were pulling the data in there. But the thing that I saw Gemini label Louisville, it hurt my feelings. And here's why. They called what Louisville does in the North Carolina game, the Stanford game. Thank you all for coming. A lot of the home games, fake runs at the end of the game to make it look closer than what it was.
Right. No,
that was a fake run.
Yeah.
That was a fake run. In full transparency, I'll tell the audience, I walked away at about the 7-minute mark. We're at Main Event, State of Louisville Live, presented by Surfside and Main Event. My wife and kids showed up about the 7-minute mark of the second half, and my kids are extremely challenging for one person to handle. So I said, here, babe, I got you. This game's out of hand. Let me walk away. I'll help. We'll do all the things like the human claw, and we'll do the Connect 4 basketball, and we'll do the Price is Right wheel spin. Mm-hmm. And we'll come back and we'll see what happens. And we came back and Louisville lost by 5, but I can tell you that Louisville did not lose by 5 in this game. Like, the score may have indicated that, but they did not lose by 5 points.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's another run from a team that is, should not be, making runs like that on you. And just Louisville goes in these funks offensively for as good as they can be offensively. They go into these little funks where there's just stretches where, you'll go down the court and a guard will just pull up for a three.
How many times tonight did I yell from Ryan Conwell in particular, bad shot. Yeah. Ryan Conwell, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I do now, actually. Hold on. 6 of 12 tonight. He went 3 of 9 from the three-point line. I would say of those 9 attempts. Yeah, I'll take a water. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Of those 9 attempts, at least 5 of those were horrible shots. Not in the flow of the offense. Exactly what we talked about before the game, which is when you can't attack inside the paint, when you cannot beat your man off the dribble and make another help side defender or a weak side defender step over and help, which then creates an open passing lane to an in-rhythm shooter who is standing still waiting for the shot. When that doesn't happen, Louisville takes these fucking, excuse my language, these 30-footers that Francisco Garcia would call it a bad shot. I mean, a guy who knew no range would call it a bad shot. And I get it. Look, Michael is clearly hurt, right? Like, whatever happened in the last game where he took that stumble and that fall, went out for a while and came back in, we saw it play out tonight. His shot was flat, but at some point you have to stop shooting the ball if it's not an in-rhythm shot and it's not for your offense. But in his defense, Press, no one inside wanted the ball. Nobody.
Well, and it's not just that. Clemson did a really good job, and I mean a lot of recent opponents have done a good job of taking away the spacing, man. Things that Louisville was flourishing on when they were able to create a little bit more space, essentially against lesser quality opponents, they're able to kind of have cutters come into the lane and have a big dump it off, or have a pass from the baseline into the paint for an easy look. That's not going to happen against the Clemson. And Louisville kept running the same actions, especially in the first half and the start of the second half, where, I mean, they had multiple segments where, you have, they had a segment in the first half where there was 4 straight turnovers and an alley 3 mixed in there. So they had 5 possessions in a segment, and you had 1 shot attempt, and it was an Ali Khalifa 27-foot 3, right? Like, that's what the offense can look like at times. But honestly, I mean, going back to a lot of people's point, this is a team that's not built to be, to play at the highest level defensively, which in and of itself is flawed. This is the first time since December 3rd that Clemson has hit the 80-point mark. December 3rd. First time in conference play that have scored more than 77 points.
It's just
and
insane,
I know a lot of
man.
that goes into Louisville extending the game, and it was at one point it was something along the lines of like 75 to 62. So I get that, Louisville made a run at the end, and I'm sure it'll come up in the post game, and we'll hear about that. But I mean, here's the reality, right? Like, you just got outplayed by a team that just lost 4 games in a row, 3 of which were to teams that are unlikely to be in the NCAA tournament, right? And you got absolutely out-hustled and manhandled by, in my opinion, a much, much less talented team. Like, if you're grouping the ACC, teams in the ACC by their talent level, I'd say Clemson is in the bottom 5. Would you say that's an appropriate assessment? I mean, Boston College is atrocious. Georgia Tech isn't great. Like, there's some out there that aren't great, but Clemson is they're polar opposite of Louisville in every way. But I think the most damning part is that the sum of their parts is better than, what's the phrase? What am I trying to say? The whole of their parts is better. Some of their parts is better than
the whole of their parts.
Yeah, I don't know. But Louisville's the opposite, right?
Something like that.
You have. There's not 4 teams in this conference that have more talent and.
Oh no! God no.
I mean, than Louisville, right?
Yeah.
And so
Louisville is.
When you think about it from that respect, right? This is. I'm not going to say coaching malpractice or anything like that, but I mean, the reality of the situation is that the coaching staff is not getting what they need to get out of this team. And again, another damning thing about this team and this coaching staff, Pat Kelsey comes out, what was this, yesterday morning, basically talks to Matt McGavick like he's a little boy when he asks a legitimate question, and then goes on a long 5-minute rant about how this team's going to get it together. They're too talented to not. And Louisville has the pieces to get it together and make a run for March. Well, guess what? It's March. This is the last game in February. You have 2 games left in the season. You're guaranteed 1 game in the ACC tournament and 1 game in the NCAA tournament. I think Louisville's firmly in, even if they lose their last 2.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I mean, right now you're staring a 7 or 8 seed straight in the face once again. And I mean, if you look at the 7, 8, 9, 10 line, there's a bunch of teams that, if you're Louisville, you probably don't want to play them, right? 0-8 against quad 1A opponents. And most of those games, it hasn't been very close. In games like Arkansas, Tennessee, even though they blew them out. Who else am I forgetting? North Carolina, Stanford,
SMU, Duke.
There were a lot of games where the opponent ballooned the lead to 10, 12, 15, 20 points.
Yeah.
And Louisville clawed their way back to like 5 or 6.
I want to talk about that.
And it's like you said, Jacob. You called it the fake runs. If you plotted and tracked Louisville's runs on the season, it probably doesn't look that bad. But a lot of it's because when they play quality opponents, they get so far behind, and then it just turns into, well, let's just get it down the court and just try to score as quickly as possible and extend the game. Right? It doesn't have anything to do with within the flow of the game that Louisville has found success to shut teams down and then go on a run. Right? It's not that at all.
No, it's not. And in fact, I've talked about this a couple of times throughout the year. One of the metrics that I think really defines this season is time spent trailing. And you may say to yourself, well, Louisville's played North Carolina close. They played Duke the first time close. They played, up until a certain point, they played Arkansas close. They played Tennessee close. Those are true statements. But if you go and you look at the time spent trailing in those games, they tell the true story of what they are. They're really bad. And in these games, it's the same thing, rinse and repeat.
Yep.
And that's the thing is, if Louisville was winning, okay, let's back up. The rat poison comment comes from Nick Saban when Alabama was 11-0, 12-0. Nick doesn't want his teams to fall back on being great, and he calls it rat poison.
Yeah.
When you're 21-8 and you're out here talking about rat poison, it's a completely different context because you're not a great team. You're not. And I get the context is you don't want to eat the rat poison of thinking you're the best thing. But in that context, Pat, you have it so desperately wrong that it's not even funny. Your team is not desperate enough.
No.
And to say that it's a rat poison thing and that it's, that the fans and the commentary around this team is what's the problem. No, Pat,
No,
it's not the problem. The problem is the fact that you can't guard the inside to save your life. When you do guard the inside, you give up the outside. It's nonstop, never ending, never failing, always. All right, let's go. We got a little guest appearance.
Some special
here.
guests.
Come on in here.
This is Montrezl Harrell.
We got the Tell us what you thought about the game tonight. Nervous? Okay. What do you think?
I don't know.
They don't know. I don't know either.
Some hot takes. Well,
I don't know
honestly,
either.
we're in the same boat, Ribby. We are all in the same boat.
We don't
in
know
this situation.
for another 40 minutes what the heck just happened because a Clemson team on paper, they're not as talented as Louisville. Yes, they play a different style of basketball, but they should not be able. And for the last month, even in the wins, Louisville is not able to establish their style of play.
Yeah.
Unless shots are falling at the highest level, and they're just not.
No, I mean,
they're not taking good shots.
Against good teams, they don't get good shots, right? The actions that you're running are not, for the most part, not successful. I think last year you had some really good pieces, veteran pieces in some instances, with Rain Smith, with Fat Edwards, with Chucky Hepburn. You have guys that it was a lot easier to plug and play and make it and be able to implement what Pat Kelsey wants to run. Michael Brown's never done this at the highest level. Ryan Conwell's played for 4 different teams in 4 years and never played on a team that was structured in this way and has never had to be relied upon the way that he is. He's always been a 3rd or 4th guy. I talked about this a little bit on socials earlier in the week, but you assembled a roster based around the return of Case and Pryor, which obviously hindsight's 2020, but that's a bad look. I can't imagine Case and Pryor was cheap to keep around. You assembled this roster around Ali Khalifa being a quality piece, right? If he's not a starter, we heard in the offseason, right? If he's not a starter, he's going to be a great 6th man. That's not the case. My man cannot do a lot of the basic things that you need a successful center in the ACC to do during ACC play. You based it around Kobe Rogers, who, I'll hand up, right? I thought Kobe Rogers would be a lot better than he is. I'm not sure he's even given an opportunity to really establish himself as part of this rotation, but he doesn't do a lot of the things that this team needs to have their lead guard do, right? That's why you don't see him starting, and you have Ryan Conwell and Adrien Wooley in the game instead, right? So the way that the roster was assembled, it starts at the very beginning. It starts from the foundation of the roster, and then it kind of bleeds into the culture, right? You don't have the right pieces on this team. That's very apparent, right? When you're on the road, down 3 at halftime, and you come out and you look like that, when you come out and you let Clemson get out to what it ultimately ended up being, 14 points at the most, when you let them just come out and just take advantage of you, and really in 2 straight road games, but overall in the last 3 or 4 games, that's kind of starting to become a trend. How are you coming out of the locker room just completely unprepared? It just blows my mind some of the the things that this coaching staff is allowing to happen, and there are no adjustments to we haven't even if we're seeing a 1-3-1 zone a lot, right? We're throwing that kind of stuff out there, but it's too little too late. Somebody commented on there, and I know you want to talk about it, I'm sure.
I'll put it up there again.
Somebody asked right above it, because I think that was more of a response of, you guys just don't even want them to try at the end of the game, right? That's not what we're saying.
No.
We're saying it's too little too late.
It's too late. Yeah, you're getting on a run when it's over, and you're not getting on a run doing the right things at that. I mean, how much of that at the end of the game was garbage time? Just garbage time.
It's all garbage time, right?
Right, and that's why they track metrics for that shit.
Yeah,
it's because it's a different part of the game. The game in that portion is over, right? And when you're down 20 points with 4 minutes left and you get it within 5 good for you, but you were really never in it to begin with.
No, in my opinion, that doesn't deserve praise because
that's facts. I'm gonna confirm that that's factual.
That's not something.
Don't get down 20.
Yeah,
that's not that hard.
That's not something you can hang your hat on that they tried, because that would be indicative of basically if you're saying that they had grit and fight towards the end of the game, you're also saying that it's highly likely that they didn't to get to that point, right? Like there's something a golf coach told me in the past, right? If you the only time you ever hit a great shot is after you hit a bad shot, right? The only time you see in sports, you see a lot of great plays is after something bad has happened, right? If you see a guy, flying out of bounds and he saves it in bounds and you score on a broken play, that's the result of a bad play to start, right? And so that's kind of a microcosm of what Louisville looks like against quality opponents. Is they allow teams to just manhandle them, to not allow them into the paint, to make them shoot out of rhythm shots, run them off the three-point line. All the things that you're supposed to do defensively, teams are so easy can get away with so easily against this Louisville team, and it's because opponents know if you come out, and just punch them in the mouth, it's really difficult for Louisville to regain its balance. And ultimately to have more points than the other team at the end of the game.
Well, and I looked at the stats at the end of the game to see what we talked about before, which was if Louisville could control the points in the paint, would that make a difference? And Louisville won the points in the paint battle in this one.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge part, because at the end of the game, or in the big portions of the game, where Louisville was keeping them out of the paint, they had already established dominance in there, and they were able to kick it out to Justin Porter, who was dominating from three, had his best game from three on the season.
Yeah.
It was clockwork for Clemson. It was just continually outdoing what Louisville was throwing at them. Louisville was behind the 8 ball the entirety of this game.
Yep.
And we've seen it now in enough games over 2 years to truly ask the question, what is it? Is it lack of adjustments? Is it not enough basketball knowledge? Is it a stubbornness? And I think it's a little bit of all of the above. I mean, I think you see that in these games, Pat is not willing to make changes, or in fact in this one, when you're on a roll, Pat makes too many changes. It doesn't seem that he truly has an understanding of when to press the right buttons and when to truly go and when to pull back and all those things of rhythm and flow. And against a team that is going to play inside and do what they do, Louisville tonight just had no answer for that, and there was nothing that Pat threw at them that was even close to stopping it. I mean, you try to go to Zugris there for a little bit. You try to have Khalifa in there. Frew played better in the second half. But at the end of the day, man, it was just a continual one step behind or one step forward, 5 steps back. I mean, it was just a total domination by a team that, yes, Clemson is really good, but there is no way the talent even compares. And they made comments to the roster value of Louisville and all of those things, and that's just where this team is, being 20-9 at this point in the season, having lost the games that they've lost and continuing to show the same thing time and time again. They settle for bad shots, they don't know how to get inside, and they do not know how to make stops when their shots aren't falling. Simple as that. We could wrap the show up right now. That's it.
Yep.
That is it.
Rinse and repeat. Right?
Rinse and repeat.
And again, we talk about these quad 1A games. It's opportunities against, it depends on if it's home, neutral, road, whatever. But basically, the top half of those quad 1 teams, Louisville's been atrocious. So basically, the teams that the net or most metrics value as very similar to Louisville, when Louisville plays those opponents, they don't just struggle. It's in most cases it's been what I would deem a blowout loss, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily like today. Yes, they extended the game, but the game was basically decided with 6-7 minutes left.
Well, the game was decided before halftime. I mean, they came really right after halftime.
Yep.
I'm going to throw this one up here on the board. I like this one right here. More ammunition for McGavick to keep cooking. Pat, I mean, what's the question for Matt this week? Coach?
Yeah.
That's it. You got any comment, Coach? Like, Matt doesn't even have to ask a question this week.
Yeah. I mean, I texted McGavick after
I did too.
About an hour after, and just said, "Look, I mean, I got your back on that 100%."
Well, I told him he's got to be tired of Pat just getting annoyed. Look, Pat is playing into the Chris Mack 101 what not to do under pressure, time and time again. And I told you this at the beginning of the year, and you did not want to hear it.
Yeah,
I told you from press conference 1 when Pat came in making the comments to Eric Crawford about his mantra for the year.
Right.
I told you then it was a different Pat. Pat had a hard time with that NCAA loss, getting cooked for 6 months.
Yeah.
And he came in tired of it because look, I get it, but there is an arrogance of, I don't deserve this level of criticism coming from Pat Kelsey.
Right.
And you know who else did that? And you know my DMs are living proof of that?
It's
Chris Mack.
Yeah.
Chris Mack getting upset that we said this isn't Xavier anymore. You know what, Pat? This isn't College of Charleston anymore.
Right. I mean, and look, the rhetoric was much the same, right? I mean, full transparency. And Chris, if you want to come back on and talk about it, you can.
Let's do it.
I mean, Chris Mack, literally, Jacob wakes up one morning at 6 a.m. to a 300-word message from Chris Mack about how he's completely wrong. And Jacob's response was, okay, come on the podcast. Let's talk about it. And so we did. We dove into it, and he was very optimistic about the upcoming season. But then what happened? You know, you saw, again, very similar results to
your marriage.
To what we saw this year. Well, that's true.
I only say that because the interview was the day after your wedding.
I did literally interview Chris Mack in my wedding suit. So
you did. You did. And we won't say how that ended, but
no,
it ended for good for you.
Yeah, I was going to say I
good for you. Was that a low blow?
No, not at all.
Okay, all right.
No, that was a
good joke for
blow.
2 people who know the joke.
Yes.
So if you know the situation. But no, Pat Kelsey is really struggling right now, I would say. This is the most pressure he's faced since he's been in Louisville. Deservedly so. He's lost a lot of games on the road against really good opponents. He's 0-8 against Quad 1A teams. And the rest of the record was 20-1 against non-Quad 1A teams this year. And that tells you a lot, right? He can win games, but not against good teams. Scott Satterfield mantra.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
By God, that's Scott Satterfield's music.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people calling for Pat Kelsey's job. I am...
Yeah, we're not there yet.
I am in no way saying that could be the case. And, you know, it's like I told Jacob on Monday night, you could be in a situation where, I mean, look at, you know, you don't have to look that far into the past to see teams that struggled throughout the season against quality opponents and then just could not get it done. I'm sorry, the opposite, that we're able to get it done and make a run in the postseason. Look at NC State a few years ago. They don't even make the tournament if they don't win the ACC tournament, and then they go on to the Final Four.
Yeah.
You never know what can happen, but the evidence is right in front of you. What Louisville is what Louisville has been. Nothing has changed, regardless of opponent style of play, regardless of what you try to implement. The results have been exactly the same.
Yeah.
And I don't if that falls upon the players, then that's an indictment upon the roster construction, right?
It is.
And if it falls upon the coaching staff, which I think it does a little bit more, then it's very damning, right? And I think that you'll see what you see often in this offseason, that a couple of guys will probably make their way onto bigger and better things, or find positions in a different role outside of Louisville, and maybe you'll have some replacements and some maybe a breath of fresh air in Louisville next year. But I mean, that's the point that we're at, right? Like once you start having to make coaching changes for optics or for to just kind of change it up, that's not typically a recipe for success.
Yeah, you're right.
You don't typically see coaches change.
It's beginning of the end.
Yeah.
It's always the beginning of the end.
Almost
always. And you can, I've made this same point several times, that when I think it was 21 going into 22 when Satterfield had to start making his first staff changes. And I think that's when he brought in Lance Taylor. That's when they made some pretty big changes to their staff. And it felt like, okay, we want him out of our coaching tree. We want him to do something different. And that was the beginning of the end for that guy, because that's not how he operated.
No.
And I think it's the same way for Pat. And for Louisville this year, you look at the way that things have gone, and you look at how they've continued to build, and the same things each game have been the same problem, almost even to a higher degree each and every time. And it shows me that there is a lot of belief in what they're doing, but yet not a lot of proof to have that belief. And to me, that screams a staff, while they may be in lockstep together, that is missing the mark. It needs something to jumpstart them to say, hey, Pat, maybe we try this, or don't do this, which in my opinion would be maybe after today, and this is coming from the guy that sat in the back of this room criticizing Adrien Wooley for about a half and a half of another half.
Yep.
Maybe you start Adrien Wooley and pull Isaac McNeely out of a starting lineup. Maybe it's time.
I mean, to me, what makes the most sense is, and again, I know we rotate players in and out a lot, but the rotation of when everyone's healthy, Michael Brown, Ryan Conwell, Javon Hadley, Kenai Roots, and Sanan DeFrew makes the most sense logically to me, right? Because you're getting decent, or not. I don't even want to say decent. You're getting okay results out of your starting guards. The issue lies in, Isaac McNeely can't guard a parked car sometimes, and it's not for lack of effort. It's just it is what it is. Teams have exposed him over and over again. When he played for Virginia, he had a lot more help defensively. Michael Brown is not a super defensive-minded player.
No one in their starting lineup is.
Yeah,
no one is,
and that's a problem, right? Because you're going to have nights like tonight where you're not able to hit shots. Like some of the shots that Louisville was taking tonight, right? Like Michael Brown was, what he finished 0 for 7 from 3, 0 for 6 from 3. You're going to have nights like that. I mean, he made 10 threes in a game this month.
Right, but he was 2 for 10 overall with 1 of 1 free throw. Not. You know what that screams to me? I didn't even try to get downhill. I didn't even try. And the free throw numbers in this game, Presley, are so staggering. I think that's the thing that when I look through the box score and I look at the way that this game shook out, Clemson was 24 of 34 from the free throw line.
Yeah.
Do you know how many free throws Louisville shot?
I haven't looked. I'm going to guess 12.
That's a good guess. That's the number, 12.
Okay.
So 12 to 34.
Yeah.
Louisville, Clemson doubled in points the number of attempts Louisville had on the free throw line. That is a recipe for losing 10 out of 10 times.
Yes.
Louisville fouls. This is the problem. They foul, they turn the ball over, they take bad shots, and they don't defend the paint. That is the recipe for a losing team 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I mean,
Tell me a college basketball team that's ever been bad at all those things and won a national championship.
Yeah. I mean, you had your Gemini
segment, me and Jim.
Yes, Jim and myself. You had a Gemini segment on Monday where, you asked Gemini.
I asked Gemini to tell me why they lost.
Yeah, well, I think, a good question for AI, it would be, if you're assembling a roster, or if you want to see, the statistical production from a team that can make a Final Four or national championship run, what does that need to be constructed of? And I think that Louisville is lacking in, would probably be lacking in 75% of those areas.
They're not an athletic team. They're not a physical team.
They play below the rim.
They don't play above the rim. They don't have bench production.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have depth. They play a lot of guys. They don't do a lot of things from those guys.
Correct.
Right? Like, let's look at the box score for a second. I'm a big box score believer. Now, I'm not a box score watcher, but I'm a box score believer that it tells you a lot about what you need to know about a game, okay?
You did have 3 Frew dunks towards the end of the game.
That one skyhook dunk was nice. The one-handed, it was
pretty nice. I mean, honestly, we could put a clip on social of that if we cut out the score at the bottom of the screen.
That's right. Here's your bench tonight, okay? And again, a lot of this comes in garbage time. Man, I'm yawning myself in the middle of a sentence. That's how you know it's bad. Michael Brown, 5 points, 2 of 10 from the field. Kenai Roots, 1 point, 0 of 1 from the field. Kobe Rogers, 0 points, 0 of 1 from the field. Ali Khalifa, 5 points, 2 of 3 from the field. All 5 of those points came in the first half.
Yep.
Zugris, 2 of 2 from the field, 4 points. So you're talking about your bench right there giving you 15 points, which not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but how you got those 15 points was out of pure inefficiency, inability to impact the game, and it really came from 2 guys, Michael and Ali Khalifa.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
I mean,
and it came in the first half at that. So you had pretty much no bench points in your second half. And it's a continued question of what's going on. Like, no Case and Pryor. Your bigs on the bench aren't giving you anything. Zugris comes in, way too much dribbling. Way too much dribbling.
A lot of dribbling from Zug.
Zug
But,
thinks he's point guard.
You say that, but that's also, that is on the guards, right? Okay, if it's not Louisville's guards this year and it's Chucky Hepburn, do you think Zugris is dribbling that much?
No,
no
probably
way
not.
in hell.
No
way in hell that's happening.
Well, and last year we talked about we needed somebody else to get the ball and dribble because last year the ball was always so dominated by Chucky, and it felt like guys were standing and watching. Mm-hmm. And this year it's a little bit of the same thing, but it's also Zug gets the ball and does too much, turns it over, fouls after he turns it over out of frustration. It's the same thing kind of over and over again. Mm-hmm. It's not good dribbles. Let me say that. It's certainly not good dribbles in the flow of an offense. And this team, they get out there, and after a certain point, they just go rogue. They just do what kind of floats their boat, whatever it is. Michael Brown, I gave you the numbers. Let me give them to you again from earlier of the hero ball. Now, I know he went 2 for 10 from the field, but remember, I gave you the numbers earlier today of this team in losses, what Ryan Conwell and Michael Brown Jr. do. Let me go back, actually, to the stats I sent you of just Michael, because I think that's the better story here. Hold on real quick. Let me pull this up. Michael Brown this season, in games in which they've lost in quad one losses, is shooting. Goodness gracious, I thought I sent you the good data here. Maybe I didn't. I don't know where that went. Hold on. I'm scrolling. Hold on. Give me a second.
Just to quickly reset, here live, State of Louisville live from Main Event. Louisville loses by, 5-6 to
5
Clemson.
points.
5 points to Clemson tonight. But honestly, not that close. We do appreciate everybody that came out to Main Event tonight. It was a great turnout.
Great turnout.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
We're going to keep doing it again.
Yeah,
we're
we
going to
are.
do it all the way into
We'll
the
be out here in
postseason,
the tournament. Yeah, postseason. So, in games against Quad 1 teams this year, Quad 1A, Michael Brown and Ryan Conwell were a combined 30% from the field, 21 attempts from 3 per game, 26% overall combined between those. Yep. Tonight, Conwell 6 of 12 from the field, Brown 2 of 10. So you are 8 of 22 for the field tonight.
Yep.
From 3, Michael Brown 0 of 6, Ryan Conwell 3 of 9. You're talking about what? 17 attempts there from 3?
Yep.
And 3 makes. That feeds directly into what we talked about. Yeah. In these games, if Ryan Conwell and Michael Brown have that performance, it's a loss every time. They are 0-8. 0-8. 0-8. This team is so structurally flawed that at this point, yes, they're showing up on lists from Evan Maikawa of teams that could theoretically be underseeded, and they are being talked about as a team that maybe statistically is better than what they've shown.
Yeah.
False.
No.
False 10 out of 10 times. The data shows it. Unless something changes majorly in the next 2 weeks, in 2 games in the ACC tournament, you're going to have probably going 1 of 1 in the next 2. You're going to drop your first ACC tournament loss or game, and then you're going to probably flame out in the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
That puts Pat Kelsey squarely in the middle of a warm seat next year.
Yeah.
That exit right there alone.
That makes next year a prove it year, right? Like this year, you came in with more than the benefit of the doubt, right? I mean, you're ACC Coach of the Year, biggest turnaround in college basketball.
Went to the ACC championship in year 1.
Bringing Louisville back to relevance, but you also played against a much softer schedule last year, and you had some dogs on that team, right?
And then this year you go out and you recruit better players. You bring in a 5-star point guard who's going to be a top 10 pick. You bring in an all-American player type guy in Ryan Conwell. You bring back Javon Hadley. You bring back Case and Pryor. You bring back Kenai Roots. You bring in Isaac McNeely. You bring in Adrien Wooley. There's no excuses for which this team is at this place in the season. There's literally no excuses. I understand that Michael Brown Jr. was out and that he was injured, but he has been back now for over 5 games. And in those games, Louisville has not been world beaters.
No, I mean, it's been much the same. Now, it's nice, right? Like Michael's first game back, he tears it up, and then he has a nice little stretch run where he scored, he scored 45, then he scored 29 twice, and then he scored, 24?
Yeah.
And look, scoring isn't everything, but he came out hot. Like, he had one of the best stretches, statistically in in college basketball history for a true freshman. Like that's fantastic, but overall, the sum of your parts was not where it needed to be still.
There's some good comments in here.
Sans the NC State game. Well,
Yeah.
let's hear them.
I don't know.
We're not. We don't have a producer running the comments
this up
today.
there on the screen?
But at least the Ali Balla is gone.
Yeah, that's not Ali Tola.
Ali Tola
I'm
is
pretty
gone.
sure that's the president of Iran, if I'm not mistaken.
I have
Presley did not wake up and realize that America's at war today.
No, I did. I woke up and I was like, "Babe, we're at war," and she was like, "What
What
the
do you
hell
mean?
are
Mike
talking
Brown's
about?"
going up against Clemson this afternoon?
Yes, that's honestly, that was like her John Rossian answer.
Yeah.
She's like, "What are you talking about? Is like somebody not showing up to the thing this
Yeah,
afternoon?"
right.
Like, no, like,
Yeah. Well, at least
you know,
Ali Tola
it's,
is dead.
more like Iran and Israel and that kind of stuff. But
Sorry, guys,
Yeah.
for being so close to the screen, but as Presley said, we do not have a producer, so it is just me with my elbow on the table. Yeah, rotation needs to be shortened. Isaac McNeely, if you told me Isaac McNeely isn't playing anymore after this game, I would also believe that.
I wouldn't.
Why?
Because
He's not shooting.
because
and he's not playing defense. What
Jacob,
does he have?
Because history indicates to you that will not happen, that we will not change, that it'll be the same starting lineup.
Okay, well, that's true. But I'm just saying.
I understand. From somebody from the outside looking in, like maybe Isaac McNeely just looks amazing in practice. He comes out and he hits every shot he takes. And, I mean, he's still somehow shooting like 39-40% from three on the season. But that's not indicative of how he plays against quality opponents. He was 0 for 5 last week. It took until a minute left in garbage time for him to hit a 3 this game. And that's all he brings, right? At this point, he brings less than Rain Smith did last year as a specialty shooter. And Rain Smith came off the bench on a really short rotation.
Yes.
So I do not get the Isaac McNeely. It is what it is. It is baked in. The cake has come out of the oven. We are icing the cake. You are what you are. This team is what they are. Yes, there have been great performances against lesser opponents. They've been able to take advantage of things at times against an NC State, Kentucky, teams that have their own structural flaws. But when you get against a team like Clemson that is highly disciplined, quality defensively, and hungry for a win, it's 9 times out of 10 you're going to get the same exact results, and part of it is lack of adjustments.
Yeah.
Why are you playing these guys so many minutes?
Right.
Why? I don't understand what the logic is behind that in the rotation. And I don't think the coaching staff, I put this on Twitter the other day, I don't think there's a single person on planet Earth that knows what Louisville's rotation is right now, Jacob.
That's a good one.
Not a single person. Isaac McNeely hit shots in practice because this defense stinks. That's 100% true.
That's so good.
Yeah, he probably looks like a
damn,
world
we got
beater
a
in practice.
fire-ass offense.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, coach,
you see what
guys, the defense sucks.
But you see what the closeouts look like, right?
strong.
Like, there was some closeouts today that were pathetic, right? And part of it's because guys are out of position, but you're not even challenging some shots. You're not even against.
I mean, this is a piss-poor three-point shooting team that played Louisville today.
Correct.
Clemson is not. And how many teams this year has that been the same thing? Stanford, Tennessee, it's been Arkansas. It's been nonstop. That it's not a problem of they're not good shooters. It's the fact that in games they get closeouts that are quality closeouts, and those players then don't do as well with contested shots. Louisville doesn't contest a fucking shot. They don't contest shit, and it's nonstop.
I mean, you are not wrong. You're not wrong, and I don't know if this is something that we'll have to adjust to in this era of.
Well, I can tell you this. I'll tell you this right
style
now.
Of play.
We're not going to be adjusting to shit if he doesn't figure this out, because if Louisville can figure out their financial situation, I love Pat Kelsey, but this will not fly for much longer.
No, it's not acceptable. And look, I understand, the place that Louisville started from, but in this day and age, you see teams every single year now over the last 3 or 4 years that have come out of nowhere and been fantastic.
Yes, let's be NC State. We need a fat big man.
Yeah, I mean,
let's go to Southeast Christian. There's probably one up there.
Perhaps, but I mean, it's just it is the refusal to assemble a roster that feels like it belongs in the top quarter of the ACC, right? And it's not that the talent isn't there. It's that the pieces do not fit together.
No.
The pieces don't fit together. You have a guy in Isaac McNeely that's not really a guard, not really a forward, probably your worst defender in the starting lineup, and doesn't do a lot of things that are super impactful on either end of the floor outside of making threes. That's it, right? Like, you don't see him going to the basket. And I think the other thing, too, is I don't know if this is coaching, but there's been zero adjustment when, Louisville is running a set and somebody is open. Javon Hadley, take the shot, dude. Just percentage-wise, going back to –
take it. But he was 3 for 12 tonight. I mean, or 6 for whatever it was.
Going back
3 for 9.
Right, Javon Hadley?
Yes, Javon Hadley did not have a good shooting night. He was 3 for 10. He was open all game, and they left him open because he wasn't hitting the shots.
But the scouting report does not tell you to leave Javon Hadley open.
No.
Going back to the middle of last season,
it's an adjustment.
He's shooting 45% from 3 going back to the middle of last season.
Yeah.
And he only takes 2.5 threes per game. That's a problem, right? Teams are leaving him open, and we're not playing within the flow of the offense. When you have Sananda Frew, instead of turning and facing towards the basket, Frew, Khalifa, Hadley, all these guys are not getting downhill when opponents are allowing you to, because they know all you want to do is try to set somebody up for an open three or score at the basket, and teams are starting to adjust to that, and they're not allowing you to shoot.
Yeah, that says, because if they contest, it went off the screen, 10-second rule, if they contest, they'll get beat off the dribble. That's facts. They can't stay in front of a parked car.
Yeah,
you got 5 Noah Watermans out there this year.
Yeah. I mean, there are things that this team does well, right? There are things.
Name them. Tell me them.
I think that this is, when they're in the flow of the offense, this is a very good offensive team. I think the numbers would back that up.
That's fair.
I think that this team, when they're playing within the flow of the offense, takes and makes threes at a clip that
is better than today.
Well, they take and make threes at a clip that justifies taking that many threes. Yeah. I think that this is a team that's they become a very good offensive rebounding team. They create a lot of second chance opportunities.
Yeah, they did not today.
But there are things that it confounds me that you just don't have a dog that's just going to go get you a bucket. You don't have anybody that's stepping up leadership-wise to navigate choppy waters, right? And they allow a 5-0 run from an opponent to turn into a 9-0 run or a 15-0 run, and they miss shots, in lumps, right? They miss shots in these large stretches of games, and they allow it to affect them on the other end of the floor. But going back to just playing within the flow of the game, how many times, and the announcers were all over this too, right? How many times did they have numbers, right? They get a rebound, they get a good outlet pass, and then they slow it up. They try to get into the offense rather than trying to get to the bucket. You have guys, Clemson is not a very quick, athletic team. Right. You should not be scared. Louisville, in any year, in any iteration, should not be scared of that team trying to get to the bucket. They should not, but they are. And oftentimes when they got to the bucket today, they got their shit sent, right? They got a few bailout calls going to the basket where they went to the line and then got to the line and missed the free throws.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it is really, really frustrating to watch, because it's not a team that has gelled or played cohesively together for near 30 games now. You're at the end of the season. And I think, again, going back to a very damning thing about this team is that Pat Kelsey came out this week and said, this is a team that's going to figure it out. I know it's almost March, but we're going to figure it out. Well, nothing that happened today indicates that you were in any way figuring it out.
Yeah, that was my fear, was even in a win, they don't figure it out. And I think a lot of metrics today point me to think and see what I've seen for the last 3 weeks is that Louisville cannot defend inside. They cannot score inside. And if their three-point shots are not falling, they are a team that turns the ball over a lot. They are a team that has no ability to get to the free throw line. And they are a team that will settle for everything. That is a recipe of a first weekend exit.
Yeah. And for those reasons, people are done with this team, right? Half the comments that are coming in from YouTube, which thank you everybody for joining and watching along and jumping into the conversation, half the comments are about next year. Right. What players are coming in next year? Is there going to be staff turnover? I don't know, guys. We're going into March. I wish that we could talk about our team right now and tell you with any semblance of confidence that this team could win more than one game in the NCAA tournament. I wish that I could tell you with any semblance of confidence that they're going to win their next 2 games. They could absolutely lose to Syracuse.
They could.
And there's a very low probability that they win against Miami.
I'll tell you, Tuesday night is going to be a very low, small crowd. 9 o'clock game, coming off 2 losses. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of recipe where Louisville sleepwalks at home.
Yeah. Oh, it has South Florida 2012 written all over it.
Yeah.
And look, I mean, Syracuse, for, as mid as they are, I mean, they're not a NIT team even. They have the talent and the coaching to pull out a game in the Center, right? It's not going to be an intimidating crowd. I'd say there'll be 9,000 people there. You're crying right now.
I know. I can't stop yawning.
Are you okay? Is your vagus nerve stimulated?
I'm tired of this team.
Do you have low T?
I do have low T.
Is
that Frank Thomas and Doug Flutie out there?
Sorry,
that's a Biogenics commercial.
That was such a
over your head,
a
late
musty
night TV
reference.
You know what I'm talking about? The Biogenics commercial.
Yeah.
Hey Frank, I've been really high on my tea lately. Hey Doug, how do you do that? Now I'm happy and my wife's happy. That's that commercial for you right there.
There you go. I mean, it sounds like half the commercials you hear on sports radio.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Louisville needs some boner pills. Aesthetically, physically, Louisville needs boner pills. They have not had an erection for longer than 4 hours.
No, I mean, I would take 2 hours.
2 hours? Yeah. It's that's a bad analogy, but it's just at this point when you're heading into March, yes, all the time teams flip. And sure, this team could be NC State. They could, all of a sudden, Ali Khalifa could turn into DJ Burns. Wouldn't that be something, right? If Ali Khalifa became the talk of the country because of his passing and his ability to just dominate games. But that's not happening.
That's hoping to hope, right? That
is what fans call rainbow-colored glasses.
That's rainbow-colored glasses.
Yeah, isn't that what they call them?
Well, I'd say it's just red-colored glasses, right?
Well, but like rainbows and sunshine. Yeah,
I think you mixed 2 things up.
I think I might have.
But no, I mean, if you want to put on your red tinted shades, which you're absolutely welcome to do, that's fine. But I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You have seen the results of what Louisville looks like against a tournament team. It's not good.
No,
it's not even remotely good.
Well, Stanford would tell you not even against non-tournament teams.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, your best wins this year against Indiana,
Kentucky,
who's not going to make the tournament, and Kentucky,
you asked me
who's
this
going to be a 10
week.
seed.
What's Louisville's best win? If it was Clemson, if they beat Clemson, would it be their best win? And I said no, it's Kentucky. It's still Kentucky. To this day, it's Kentucky because they haven't beaten anybody. They have not beaten anyone else of quality this year.
As far as their tournament resume, yes, it's Kentucky. And as far as just the sentiment of it,
it's Kentucky.
It's Kentucky. But
yeah, I mean, if they had beat Duke or North Carolina, I would have said that. Clemson wouldn't have been their biggest win, even though Clemson is a really good team, and obviously we saw it today. But
here's my question for you then in response to that.
Okay.
Is Louisville,
question for you all too.
Is Louisville a better team right now than they were in the 3rd game of the season against Kentucky?
Oh God, no. No.
That right there.
They're worse. They're a significantly worse team.
That right there is incredibly damning. I understand that you've been through a little bit of injury attrition, but when you have the resources that Louisville has and the ability to bring in the players that Louisville can, it's inexcusable just to have one player go out and it completely tanks your season. Case in point, look at Kansas right now. Darren Peterson has been in and out of the rotation. All they're doing is going out there and beating the top teams in the country, right? The Big 12 has 4 or 5 teams that can absolutely go out there and win a national championship. Yeah. And Kansas still stands out among all those teams, even with all that drama with Darren Peterson, even with all that going on.
And Kansas has the pieces around him to be a national championship.
Yeah, Louisville is not equipped to handle that, right? I mean, you saw it when Louisville played an exhibition against Kansas.
Yeah.
They could not stop them down low. Florida Badungo looked like freaking a Samaki Walker out there.
Yeah,
right? Like
right,
it just it has been the same issues from day one. And 3.5 months later, it's exactly the same. And to expect anything to change at this point would be ridiculous. you're at a point now where if you do not win one of the next 2 games, you finish 500 in conference.
Yeah.
You might be playing on what, day 1 of the conference
Day 1,
tournament?
yeah.
And right now, I mean, your worst fear is absolutely, staring you right in the puss, right? That they are going to. that really hit you.
I did.
That hit you weirdly. It's staring you right in the face, Jacob. That you might get into the tournament and immediately have to play Duke. And imagine what that would have looked like with this performance today. You lose by 40.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, who knows, man? That's the thing about college basketball. Here comes a big yawn. Oh, I was able to fight it off. That was more
an incredible performance.
This is nap time for me.
How many hours of sleep did you get last night?
Good sleep, probably about 4. My 4-year-old still does not sleep through the night, and we are in year 4. He is.
That's good math right there.
Yeah, my 4-year-old is in year 4, and he still sleeps like a baby does. Every couple of hours he's up, and it's dependent upon what parent is up at that time that takes care of him. He has no sense of day, night, just it's go time all the time. I think Pat needs a guy like Liam Lane. Like, I think he really does. Just full energy. You never have to ask him to be ready because he stays ready. That's the type of son I have. And he's out here right now at Main Event like all of the families in Louisville's kids should be, which is just soaking in the human crane, soaking in the arcade games, soaking in the claw, soaking in the bowling.
Soaking it in, do not soak in the human crane.
No, do not soak in the human crane. I do not think they would be very happy with us.
I mean, now, to be fair, Main Event does have someone there working the human crane.
They do.
So that could be their...
It'd be hard to soak in that thing.
That could be their bouncer.
It could, yeah, that's their bouncer. But point being is that the energy today was off. Louisville trailed for 97% of this game. For another week, they are without a quad at 1A win and will go into probably March without one. I mean, I don't think they'll beat Miami. Miami predicates itself on having Malik Renew and Ernest Yuta, their 2 big dudes, be able to dominate, and then they have Trey Donaldson and they have other guards that will take care of the rock and do exactly what teams have done against Louisville this year. And so I think that your only hope is to beat a team in which Syracuse's coach is on the way out. By the way, Pat and staff, if you're listening, I would love Kai and Anthony to be a Cardinal next year. I don't know if that's on the table or not, but he's certainly not going to be a Syracuse Orange. I certainly don't think he's going to the NBA. So Louisville would be a great spot for him. To somebody's question earlier, what does Louisville have coming in next year? Nothing. Not a single thing.
Fernandez.
No, 27.
That's 27.
They have no 2026 players
That's right.
committed.
I keep thinking because they're in 26.
Jackson Richardson commits next week. We'll see if he chooses the cards. I don't believe he will. So Louisville has nothing coming in. They'll lose their the entirety of their starting lineup outside of likely Sananda Frew unless he decides to go back and play internationally. And then your only players coming back are Kenai Roots, Vangelis Zugris, London Johnson, and Mo Kamara. And Kenai Roots. That is not the foundation of a strong team. That not even close.
London Johnson was out today, by the way.
Yes, London Johnson was out with the same injury as me, which is not playing itis. Any thoughts on the cards? Yes? What do you got?
Get over here, Ruby. You don't have to say it into the mic if you don't want to.
Come on. We're going to interview. It's Kids Day. Come on.
Come
on over here, buddy. Come on.
Come on, Kids Day. Show them.
Come on.
Show them how much fun you're having here.
Tell them what your name is.
Liam.
Liam, and where are you?
I'm Ethan.
At Main Event. And what's your favorite game at Main Event?
Machines and Stuffy.
Yeah, machines with the stuffy. And what is your name?
Ruby.
And where are you at?
Main Event.
And what is your favorite game at Main Event?
Probably spin a win.
The spinning wheel. She won 1,000 tickets early on that.
1,000 tickets?
1,000
What
tickets.
does that get you? A car? Are you going to be driving?
She may be the head coach of the University of Louisville. He's on the other side of the table, doing his thing. Other side of the
Can you
table.
get that with 1,000 tickets? Can you get a coaching job?
You can be the head coach of the University of Louisville Cardinals. I think Pat and Ruby may make the same level of adjustments, which she's not making any because she doesn't understand basketball. So
I don't like this, Jacob. I don't like that. Tomorrow is March.
Tomorrow is March.
I love that.
That's great.
That's great.
We
That's
have
great
March
news.
Madness, the Selection Sundays in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, we have
Well,
conference tournaments.
Here's the beauty, okay? We're gonna be in the tournament,
Right here.
okay? And Louisville's only been in the tournament 3 times since the year 2017, okay? Louisville has not won a game since 2017 in which that child right there, who is now 8 years old, was 1 year old. Actually, she was not even born yet. So we're talking about not having won a tournament game since 2017, in which they were a 2 seed and they beat a 10 seed. We have not seen any form of a run since 2016 when they went to the Elite 8, I believe, Sweet 16.
That's bad math.
It's what?
If they were a 2 seed, they beat a 15 seed.
That's right. Sorry, Jacksonville State was yes. They lost to a 10 seed, Michigan.
Correct.
Thank
Yes.
you. So this is at the point where you have a 5-star. You bring back all the talent you bring back. Massive disappointment. No way around it. And to put a bow on the show, there is not many more ways we can say they suck.
I think there's not many more ways you could say that they're mid, right? I hate even saying that they are.
Yeah, that's not fair on my part.
That they're average.
They're just not very good. They're not a championship
against
team.
good teams.
They're
No,
not an
no.
ACC championship caliber team. They are likely going to be one and done in each of the tournaments unless something drastically changes in the next week. And I think that's a fair analysis without ruffling feathers. The statement before that they suck ruffled feathers. I'm sorry. I take it back. They don't suck. They temporarily are struggling.
Is there a world where Louisville comes out and they're just absolutely focused and can dominate some opponents, right? I guess what I'm getting to is there's been a lot of comments about from the fan base about just an overall lack of focus and lack of cohesiveness and knowing what their job is and executing well on that job. I think that's a fair way to put it, right? Today against Clemson in a game that you absolutely have to win. I don't care what Pat Kelsey says. You have to win that game. You have to win that game if you're Louisville. That's who you are as a program, and fans are going to hold you to that, right? That is our identity as a program. Sweet 16 is the bare minimum expectation, and fans are seeing the writing on the wall that, you know, the chances of you beating a team with equal talent to you are slim to none at this point.
Yeah.
And that is incredibly disheartening. And so I guess my question is, you know, is there something where you can flip a switch and this changes? In my opinion, I would find that very, very hard to believe, Jacob. We are parenting on the fly right here.
My son is running out of the room, and my wife has got her eyes closed because they're playing hide and seek. He tried to run out of the room. Okay,
He's back.
Real quick, last couple of things. I apologize. I'm close to the camera again, but let's just let's go through these. I don't want to be a jackass, but for all the talk about his passing, all he did was throw backdoor passing. That's Ali Khalifa comment right there. Still a good passer, but yeah, I mean, we've seen it become less and less of a thing as teams pick up on it. I said several weeks ago Kentucky would beat us.
Right now, Kentucky would
yeah, probably so.
Be favored against Louisville, yes.
If I was at Kentucky, I would have lost by 20. Maybe. We could play Duke in the ACC tournament after the 8-9 game. Yeah, that's true. Watching Michigan yesterday makes me, Michigan's fucking good, man. That's really tough to, Dusty May certainly has got it going there. U of L, we're officially in, just get us to Louisville Kings season. That's where we are.
I'm shocked that wasn't Vince Lococo.
I thought that would be Keith Artoff right there, like counting down the days of spring football. And then the last one here, does anyone know what PK said in his press conference? He probably asked or probably mentioned rat poison. Actually, I bet you he didn't mention rat poison, if I had to guess.
What's the over-under on rat poison mentions?
For the rest of the year, probably 0. I don't think we'll hear that again, if you want me to be honest.
Okay, let me ask you this, Jacob. If Pat Kelsey did what Mark Pope did a few games ago, where he came out after the game and gave a...
Said he was going to kill himself?
No, I mean, he just didn't give he gave a very PC press conference and then walked away and had some choice words about the officiating. How do you think that would go over right now with PK?
Not good.
In my opinion, I think that it would actually strike fans as seeing something a little bit different from him, right? Because you get the same old, right? Like if you ask a question about the future, he's going to say that we're thinking about Syracuse now. You know, we're going to get on the plane and we're going to watch the tape and we're going to start preparing for Syracuse. It's not going to be about well, how can we do in the NCAA tournament? It's about, how can we have the best conditioning or whatever? Like, it's the same thing over and over again, I guess is what I'm getting to. And that is not necessarily, you don't see anything like that like you've seen out of Pope. Like, Pope, you can tell this is killing him.
Yeah. And
tell.
I think it is for Pat, but he's not doing – Pat's falling into that Chris Mack playbook like we talked about, and I think that's his struggles, is that he is really having a hard time with the media and adjusting to every bit of losing because he hates losing. You can see it.
Sure.
You can physically see it. So, all right, that'll do it here. State of Louisville live from Main Event. Thank you, everybody who came out. Thank you, everybody who watched. We had a couple thousand people in here with us watching pre-game, post-game. Thank you all. We will be back out here for the NCAA tournament at some point. Be logged into our socials for that. And then, of course, we've got more coverage coming from the basketball side of things. We'll be back in action at some point this week with Starting 502 podcast. Louisville does have Syracuse Tuesday night at home in what was senior day, the last game of the year at home. And then they will close with a season finale with, I know who it is. Miami, thank you, on the road in South Beach. And so we'll cover all of that right here on the State of Louisville Podcast Network, Starting 502 Podcast, State of Louisville Live, presented by Main Event, where we're at today, right off of 64, right off of Blankenbaker Parkway. Bring the whole family out here, games, food, drinks, everything that you could need. And we will see you soon. Jacob Lane, Presley Meyer, Andrew Crum, the Lane family, all of the folks that have been out here today. I'm going to walk over here off the camera so I can turn this thing off here in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and we will see you next time. Go Cards.